Hi, everybody. Very good morning. I can see a lot of excitement in the chat right now. How is everybody doing? Hi, Vinayak. Hi, Vishwajit. How's it going? Good morning to you as well. Yes, Darshan, we are live now, and I can see a lot of excitement pouring in the chat right now. A big welcome to everyone. Good morning, Sunit. So, just tell your friends to join the stream. Make sure your laptops are charged, make sure you have a notepad or something to note down because we have plenty of sessions lined up for you today. So while we join in and while everybody gets ready, drop in the name of the place you're joining from. Where are you all joining from? Yes, Darshan, we do have a full schedule packed today. Golden is joining from Delhi, Urv is joining from Vadodara, Vasudev is joining from Panipat, Hemang is from Ahmedabad. I see a lot of Vadodara folks out here, and maybe I know why. Shibam is joining from Bhubaneswar. Amazing, amazing. Siddharth is joining from Slovenia. So we have international attendees as well. Mrinank is joining from Santa Clara. Amazing, amazing. We have people from Meerut, we have people from Baroda, we have people from Trivandrum. I can see a lot of excitement in the chat right now. All right, so since it's the month of October and since the excitement for open source is soaring all high, why don't you all comment down your favorite tech stack? Maybe your favorite programming language, maybe the tech stack you wish to contribute to this Hacktoberfest. Any favorite programming languages? Vasudev says Java, Sunit says Rust. Okay, another Java fan I can see. Shivang is saying JavaScript. Shibam says JS. We have quite a lot of diversity, not in just our attendees, but in the tech stacks too over here, right? Aditya seems like a big Python fan. Nishit says JS. I like Darshan's reply here. He says designing as well, right? So, yes, open source is definitely not just about code based contributions. Designing too, if you wish to contribute to design, that's amazing. All right, I'm sure all of you, Raj says TypeScript, definitely Raj. TypeScript is a favorite of many. All right, then, I hope you all have told your friends to tune in. Your laptops are ready because I guess we are ready to begin. Are we? All right, so here we go. I would now like to officially welcome you all to Hacktoberfest Virtual Edition by Hack This Fall. Let's go. Yes, Siddharth, let's go. And we've had this virtual edition in the previous iterations as well. and seeing the massive attendee count, seeing the massive excitement within the audience. It's not just coming virtually this time, it's again coming in person too in Vadodara on 25th October, right? So, again, thank you for joining everybody. I know it's a lovely Sunday morning, and all of you who are taking the time today to join the stream, we value you from the core of our heart. Thank you for joining today. And I'm sure you'll have, whether you're a seasoned expert or whether you're a newbie, there is something in store for everyone today, right? If you're wondering what Hack This Fall is, so Hack This Fall is a dynamic community of hackers. It began as a hackathon, but now it has extended its array of events. There are tech meetups, there are conferences, and there is the Hacktoberfest event like this one. If you wish to know more about Hack This Fall, you can visit the website hackthisfall.tech. On that note, I'd like to suggest that the excitement which you guys showed initially, I suggest that you keep it high throughout the session because we have a contest going on. So there's a swag giveaway. Throughout the entirety of the session, tweet your learnings from the live stream at any instant of time. Use the hashtags HackThisFall Hacktoberfest, tag us at the rate HackThisFall and at the rate Hacktoberfest, and you can win a GitHub tea. You can enter the giveaway and you can win a GitHub tea, right? So I hope we're all ready to begin. On that note, let's kickstart today's journey. So, this is our agenda for the day. This is the welcome and introduction going on right now. After this, we'll have a talk on creating a healthy open source ecosystem, followed by the much needed Git and GitHub workshop. Then we have another talk, Contribute to Open Sense with a Broader Purpose, followed by a session on open source alchemy navigating Hacktoberfest. This will be followed by a talk with our partner, Interledger, on the topic Coding for Change, Hacktoberfest with Interledger. And then one of our speakers will help you with identifying the right project this Hacktoberfest. This will be followed by another session on exploring open source tech. And the thrill, the excitement, and the learning does not end here. Post lunch, there'll be breakout rooms on Discord where you can engage with the speakers and the organizers and get your doubts cleared, right? So, post lunch, there'll be breakout rooms for you on Discord to get your queries cleared, right? Whether they're related to Git or GitHub, whether they're related to the talks, or whether they are related to making your first contribution in general. So, on that note, let's begin. I'd now like to officially invite our first speaker for the day, which is Ansh Arora, a community evangelist at OpenWeaver. Ansh will be speaking on the topic creating a healthy open source ecosystem. So, over to you, Ansh. Welcome to the stage, and over to you.
Hello, hi everyone. How are you doing? I'm audible. Can you quickly type yes in the chat? All right. Okay. So thank you for joining on a Sunday morning. Thank you for waking up early. So I'm Ansh. I'll be talking about the open source ecosystem in general and how we can make our open source ecosystems more sustainable and healthy. So yeah, let's start. 90, so I have some statistics for you before we start. 97% of applications today leverage open source code, and 90% of companies are using open source libraries or frameworks in one way or the other. 97% of the world's top 1 million websites are powered by a single open source software. Can you quickly tell me what that software is? Okay, I'll give a hint. The mascot is a penguin. Apache, NPM, Java, no. Linux, yes, Tarun. So 97% of the world's top 1 million websites are powered by Linux. But don't let these statistics deviate you. We won't be talking about the large scale impacts and benefits of open source. Also, I won't be telling you why you should contribute to open source because we have a lot of sessions planned for you. And I really think that the upcoming speakers will do a good job of convincing you to start contributing to open source. So what I personally will be talking about is so the challenges that project maintainers face whilst contributing to open source and things you should keep in mind when you start your journey in open source contributions. But before that, I'd like to know the statistics here. So how many of you use open source projects? Could you quickly type a yes in the chat? So I'm assuming 100% of people here do use open source projects. Even if you think you don't use, maybe you're just not aware, but I'm sure you're carrying a piece of open source right in your pocket. Now, how many of the people here actually contribute to open source projects? Some real world projects that have actual user bases and you regularly contribute to it. Yes, exactly. Chris is right. Everyone uses a mobile phone which has curl, which is open source. Android is obviously based on Linux. It's built on top of Linux operating systems. Now the billion-dollar question: how many of you actually maintain open source projects? How many project maintainers do we have here? So Chris maintains some projects of his own. So you see the diversity in these statistics here. Of course, some people want to start contributing to it. So there's a lot of diverse numbers here. Almost everyone today is using open source projects in one way or the other. We have a handful of contributors and very limited project maintainers. So on average, every real world project has a maximum of 2, 3, or 5 open source projects of 2, 3, 5 maintainers. So there's a huge diversity in these numbers as compared to the companies where there is a tech team of 20 people and technical writers, designers who maintain these projects. Does anyone recognize this movie? It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Let's see who knows this movie. Okay, we're running out of time, so I'll quickly tell you about the movie. It's called Goodwill Hunting. It's one of my favorite movies. So the plot is basically, it's based on Will Hunting. He's a janitor at MIT. He is an undiscovered mathematical genius, but he doesn't have the great friend group. He quickly gets into fights. Yes, GK is right. It's Goodwill Hunting. But he's later on discovered by a professor at MIT, and then his journey starts. He gets really famous and he gets a good job and starts getting income. But how is this related to open source, right? Running a successful open source project is just Goodwill Hunting in reverse, where you start out as a respected genius and end up being a janitor who gets into fights. Now, this might not make a lot of sense, but I'll try to explain my point. But before that, what problems are we actually talking about in open source ecosystems? Maintainers are expected to be full stack. Now, I'm assuming most of you here are from the computer science or IT related fields. And so, the beauty of our field is that you can do whatever you like. If you like JavaScript frameworks, you can call yourself a front end developer. If you like dabbling with databases, you can be a back end developer or an app developer, a technical writer. But that's not usually the case with open source. Maintainers are expected to be full stack. They have to take care of code, documentation, design, testing, marketing, and responding to queries, creating tutorials, snapshots. So there's a lot of work involved in an open source project. Even the word full stack doesn't really justify all the tasks that project maintainers take up. And of course, humans can make mistakes. And it's not about mistakes either. We are all humans, right? And I'm sure most of us started a project with pure passion and later dropped it because we got bored. But that's not the case with open source because once people start depending on your project, you have to regularly maintain it. You can't just drop a project. And it's not the fault of the creator that the creation became popular, right? You just solved a problem and out of your kind heart, you made it open for the public to use. Now, it should not become a nightmare when it becomes popular. So open source is amazing, I love open source, but have we truly built a sustainable or a healthy open source culture? And if not, who is at fault? Is it project maintainers? No, I don't think so, right? Because these are just people who, out of kindness, work on projects for almost free and very little amount of money, and they do it pretty thanklessly and tirelessly. So, is it users? Not exactly, right? Because these are just people who came across a project and started using it. Now, this project solves their problems. It's pretty useful, so they started relying on it. It's quite natural for them to, be concerned about the security, reliability of these projects. Of course, the way you ask for these details is the way you ask for feature requests, bug fixes depends a lot on if the project is sustainable or healthy. But on a large scale, users are also good to go. Contributors are also in the same boat. So, they come across a project and they want to help out. So they start contributing to it. Of course, there are some cases when people don't go through the documentation, they just want to make a pull request. For example, this is Linus Torvalds' official GitHub repository. Linus is the creator of Git and Linux. So you see, one of our friends has made a contribution. He deleted a duplicate word, but that word is long. So that's an intentional keyword, but they've deleted it. Now it could be due to a lack of knowledge, or we can't judge them. But it's quite clear that maybe they didn't put as much effort. If they talked to the maintainer before making a pull request, this issue won't have been there, right? So now that we've started discussing the problems, let's narrow it down. All right. So I think the first problem with open source is that maintainers are very unpaid or underpaid. They don't make a lot of money. If you want to create an open source project, it's a very huge expectation from you that you need to realize that you probably 95% chances you won't be getting paid for your project. And of course, once your project becomes popular, a lot of people start coming in. It creates a lot of chaos and some toxicity may arise as well. Money doesn't solve burnout. Even if project maintainers start getting paid, it's still a lot of work to do, right? As opposed to companies where 10 people are working on one single feature. In an open source project, one, two, maximum five people are handling everything. So you need to be concerned about that as well. Just because you start paying maintainers, it's still a tiring job. They carry the weight of the world. I know this may sound philosophical, but I have a small diagram to portray this. So this is the modern day digital infrastructure, and at the bottom you can see there's a project that some random person at a distant area has been maintaining thanklessly since around 10-15 years. Now you see how that digital infrastructure may actually depend on this small open source project. Now imagine if this project stops getting maintenance, it doesn't get bug fixes, it stops getting updated, the infrastructure will suffer, right? So we need to thank this person who has been maintaining this project without any expectations from so long. So imagine there's a problem in the domain and you solved it. You created a project and it has become popular. People started using it. In a closed source world, that would mean you are now very popular, you started earning money, and you're respected in the developer community. In open source, that may happen, but there's also a good chance that it becomes a nightmare for you. So these are some. This is a survey on why maintainers consider quitting because of other priorities. So these are some common reasons I find in most projects. Other things in life take priority: experiencing burnout, lost interest, not getting paid enough, didn't enjoy the work, overwhelmed by the demands from users, had issue with other contributors. So this may seem like a very unrealistic scenario, but I do have some examples from you. So this is Thomas from FediLab. It's a decentralized media network. For years, he worked on open source project, but that sometimes means to be exposed. I'm no longer strong enough for receiving free insults, or sometimes threats like it was in 2019. When it happened, I was lost, overwhelmed by events. My only goal was to offer respectful privacy apps. This is Pedronok. He's the creator of Docs, which is a React ecosystem component library. When I had the idea to work on dogs, I was working on a company here in Brazil, and in order to develop it, I need to wake up every day 3 hours earlier and go to bed 3 hours later. So I worked with a lot of energy to create this project, and it was awesome. But as the project grew, a lot of demand was appearing as well, and that's the bad part of the journey. Without victimism, I need to be honest here, maintaining an open source is something very hard. This is Adam from BoldDB. I've made the decision to keep this project close to contributions for my own mental health and long term viability of the project. So these are some very realistic examples that actually come up day to day in open source ecosystems. So you see the problem here, right? There is a very genuine and serious problem that needs to be solved. But what can we do about it? So for starters, we need to start paying maintainers, because there's only so long that a person is going to work for free. But who will pay maintainers? We can start ourselves. If there's a favorite open source project of yours that you use on a day-to-day basis, please start contributing to it. Maybe make some monetary donations. Even a small amount helps the maintainers, because it gives them motivation to continue working, right? And of course, if you're a company, and you use that open source project in a great depth, you should actually take care of contributing to the project and taking care that the maintainer is paid well. Of course, we can establish some division of responsibility in the project. No one needs to be full stack. Sorry about the font here, but yeah, so no one needs to be full stack. There should be a couple of people who can help out and take care of things. Real budgets should be assigned to open source project. Governments collect taxes, community have their own funds. We can do something similar with open source projects too, right? Establish a democracy. People, so there are a lot of people who want to help out. We have some contributors who have been working in this project for a long time. They can start taking up stakes in the project and become maintainer for a short period of time. No one needs to be a maintainer for their lifetime. We can switch maintainers on a like a yearly basis, or 4 or 5 years. Look outside tech, exactly. So societies, communities, governments, they've existed for thousands of years. We can learn from them, right? But what can you, as people who are just going to start contributing to open source, can do? Firstly, be mindful. So, this happens a lot on social media. When we're writing a comment, we are not very mindful of people around us. You need to realize that there are people sitting at the back of the screen, and an actual human is going to read your comment. So please be mindful of that, and take care of their feelings. Be thankful, of course. So these people are doing a lot of work for almost free or nothing. And of course, read the documentation. Trust me, a lot of your problems will get solved if you start reading the documentation. And don't be like this person over here. I know it takes a lot of time working on a pull request, but please give the maintainers some time to review your PR. That takes a lot of time as well. Cut them some slack. I know some programs have this. For example, in Hacktoberfest, you have to do a certain set of PRs in October. But still, be mindful of the maintainers. Give them time. They'll do it. Don't worry, right? And if you're a company that heavily relies on open source projects, please don't be like these people. This open source tool we are using is lacking some features. What can we do? Complain to its developers, buy another expensive tool, add the feature ourselves, because that's how open source works. And that guy gets thrown out of the window. So don't be like this, right? So I will be talking about a company. It's called Zerodha. It's one of the India's most popular startups. They greatly rely on free and open source software. They have over 50 plus open source projects. Listmonk is a mailing list manager. Quanf is another popular open source project, which is a management library for Go. And this is Kailash. She's the CTO of Zerodha. So this recently came into my feed. I've been getting a lot of inbound interest from VCs who are pushing to see Listmonk turn into a company to apparently compete with Mailchimp. While it's great to see that people find value in a FOSS tool, FOSS here means free and open source. Not everything has to be turned into a business, right? So if everyone starts thinking like this way, don't you think that our open source ecosystems will directly start getting healthier and more sustainable? But yeah, that's it from my side. If you like this talk, there's another one. It's called "How to Compete with Open Source and Win" by Sean Yang from GitHub Universe 2022. You can check that out. Also, there's a really good article on Medium. It's called "The Internet Relies on People Working for Free." You can check that out as well. And that's it. I'm Ansh. I'm a developer evangelist at OpenWeaver. I'm an organizer at FOSS United and CTJS conferences. You can connect with me. Just run my node package npx hello Ansh on a terminal, and you'll find all my socials. Alternatively, you can go on my website ansharora.live, and we can connect and discuss more. If you have any questions or you'd like to talk, you can ping me on Discord, and I'll be happy to connect. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a lot of fun today. We have a lot of great sessions planned. So I really hope you learn a lot and eventually start contributing to open source. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ansh, for that amazing talk. The movie references and those examples made it even more awesome. And indeed, the internet does rely on people who are working for free on open source projects. So, next in line is Vraj Desai, who'd be giving a workshop on Git and GitHub. Vraj also happens to be a GitHub campus expert. So, get ready as this is one of the most awaited and most necessary tools that you need for contributing to open source. Over to you, Raj.
Hey, hello everyone. So yeah, we'll just get started. Sorry to share my screen. Wait a second, I'm just setting up the things. So yeah, first of all, I want to ask a quick question. Like, how many of you are like? I hope that most of you have your GitHub account, but anyone in the comment like who was still unsure like how to use Git and GitHub? I want to know from the audience. Okay, so yeah, I just share my screen. Okay. Yeah. So today we will. So this session will be mostly on like getting started with Git and GitHub. So yeah, I know like most of you might be familiar with Git and GitHub, but still like every time whenever like I like do this workshop, even I got to learn something new. So yeah, I will just say like just stick to the workshop and definitely I will guarantee you that you might learn something new even though you already know Git and GitHub. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, let me introduce myself. So Harshit already introduced me. So I just give a quick intro about me, like who I am. So yeah, in 2022, I have done Google Summer of Code, where I contributed to OPIA, which is like open source organization. So there I worked as an Android developer. Then I was a GitHub campus expert. Currently I am, and currently I'm working as a DevRel at Huddle One, which is like audio video communication platform on Web3. And yeah, I have won like 10 plus hackathons. Like I haven't updated this number, but yeah, it's definitely more than that. So yeah, that's a bit about me. And if you wanna connect with me, what you can do is you can just scan this QR code and you can connect with me on my socials. So even after this session, if you have any doubts, you can just like ask me, DM me. I will definitely happy to help. So yeah, let's get started. So first of all, like what the heck is Git? Why should we use it? Right? So let's see like why Git is required, right? So try to understand like I guess like most of you might be in a college, right? So you have used this thing. So you have built a project, right? So we have this subject in our college where we have to build this college project, and mostly like in that college project, like you have to work in a team. So just imagine like if there is no tool like Git or like some version control tool, how you will manage your project. So if there are four-person in a team and everyone wants to work on different part of code base, right? And even if works on the same part of code, how you will manage your work, how you will distribute the workload, how you merge the code. So for this kind of task, the Git came into the picture where like it helped you to basically track your history of code and help you to work collaboratively. So here I will give a quick example of like we continue that example of project. So let's say like okay you want to work on a project like let's say a simple e-commerce website. Okay, now you are a group of four people and you have distributed the work like one will work on the UI UX design, one will be doing front end, one will be doing back end, one will be doing kind of an integration part. So how will this work? So generally if there is no tool like it, what you will do is you do your code and you just like send that code file to other person via like upload it on Google Drive or send the code to WhatsApp. Even I have seen this like in hackathons, people are like sending the code like in WhatsApp chats. So that's like the worst part, right? Like it's the history is not being tracked, and even like the managing whole code is really difficult for you. So here, like Git comes into the picture, which helps you to basically track all of these things. So if you are working in a team, you can just simply uh, like have maintain the single repository, like single code base where you all work together and you can merge them. So we'll understand it better when I like introduce you with some commands. So here I'm just giving a brief overview like why actually Git is required, right? So right now just understand that Git is required to work in a project, and yeah, basically like will help you collaboratively and to maintain the history of code. We will see some more use cases as well, like where it will be useful. So when you understand the commands and all, you will get it better. So this is like the basic structure how Git works. I know, like this is kind of bit scary to you if you see the stages for the first time, but yeah, I would definitely assure you that after this workshop, you will most of your doubts related to the Git will be solved. So yeah, let's try to understand this each stages. Okay, so these are like I always use some analogy to explain these things. So let's say that you are a chef. Okay, so first of all, what you will do is first you will prepare some food. Okay, so if you want to cook some food, if you want to cook some dish, what you will do is first you will gather the ingredients. So whenever you are gathering your ingredients, that that stage is called as a stage kind of thing. Then once you gather the ingredients, what you will do is you will start preparing the food, right? You will use that ingredients and cook some food. So whenever you are cooking the food, it's getting in a staged area, and when your food is cooked, okay, finally when you have cooked your food, that will be in a committed state because you have already prepared your food. And let's say after preparing the food, you thought that, oh, okay, there is like the salt is less, okay, I need to add some more salt. So when you make some more changes, then it will be in a modified state. So as simple as that. Now if we consider this analogy with our coding, then what will be the here is, so first we create one file, we create one folder, okay, Git folder, a simple project folder. So that will be in untracked stage. Then once we initialize it, it will be in a staging area. Means we are like getting prepared for the files to get committed, like to make it as a final version. Now, once we added the files, and then we know that okay, these are like the final files. We don't want to modify the code now. So then you commit that message, and once that message is committed, that history will be stored. And let's say after doing that change, you want to modify something, like let's say you have built a website and now you say, okay, see, this navbar doesn't looks good, I want to make this small change here in the navbar. Then what you can do is you can just make some changes. So whenever you make some change after like committing the code, like after like doing the commit, then it will be again in the staging area. So this is how the whole flow of Git works. This is also still, I would say, it might be like overwhelming to you, but when you start using it, you start using the commands and doing it hands on, you will understand it in a better way. So definitely don't worry, like we will definitely going to do a hands on Git. So let's these are some basic commands. I won't go through these commands because anyways we are going through the live demo here. So yeah, let's do Git hands on, because I always love to code more than and talk less. So let's start coding. It's even actually not a coding, I would say. This is like just basic commands and scripts which you will use in Git. So yeah, here I will just increase my font size a bit. Okay, cool. I hope this is visible. So now, first of all, what we will do is let's create one directory here. So I'll just first get into the desktop, and here let's create one folder. So I will create, yeah, let's give the name as this for Git Okay, simple name, and I just press enter. So what this will do? So here you can see it created a new folder for me. So these are like basic Linux commands which you can use to. Okay, I need to let me just increase the size a bit. Mm, Now it will be good. Okay. Yeah, so this will basically like create a new folder for me, that is htf git. And here also I will like quickly go to the VS Code, right? Because doing everything from command might be overwhelming, so I'll just directly like first I create one folder and I get into that. Here I am. Here I will take the font size. Okay, so this is the folder here. So right now this has no files. Like this is localized, is like the by default file, but right now this is like the empty folder. Okay. So what we'll do is first let's create one simple file. Let's say um names dot text. Okay. Yeah, and here we'll just write some name. So yeah, maybe I can pick some name from the comments as well. Let's write a name, Krish. Okay. So we have added this name Krish, and right now it's a simple file. Okay. So here so here we have just created as one simple file, that is names.txt, and here we have added this name. So now what we will do here is first we will initialize the Git. So to enable like the Git version history, like to enable Git in your project, first you need to initialize it, right? So let's just write Git init. So here you can see whenever I return Git init, here my VS Code automatically makes it green, because like VS Code automatically detects that this is a Git repository and these are in the staging it. So right now, if I would say here, so here you can see here this names.txt is in here and it has some changes, right? So previously there is no file like names.txt, and now I have created a file with it and I am written this text. So here, if I write git status now, here you can see what it will say is these are in basically untracked files. Even these are not in staging area. Right now, they are untracked, because to add it in the staging area, okay, okay. Right now, I am in the desktop. So thank you. Who suggested it? Yeah, expert. So right now, I am in the desktop file. So right now, I'm actually not in my directory. So I'll first get into the HTF directory. Okay. So yeah, let's do it again. I'll just delete the file here. Yeah, let's do the same process here again. So here I will create one new file, that is names.txt. Yeah. So I will write git init, and here again, like if I write it here, you can see this names.txt is added here. Yeah. Now what we'll do here is we'll write git add, and we can write the name of the file. So names.txt. So if I write it here, what this will do is this will add it in the staging area. So if I write the git status now, here you can see right now changes to be committed, and this is the new file which is added. So if I haven't done the git name git add names.txt, this will show me that it is in untracked area. So let me create a new file for you to make you understand. So let me create a quickly new file. Okay, new.txt, and here let's say I will write htf. So again, if I write git status here, you can see that a new file is created here, and this is in the staging area. Like this needs to be committed, and this is the untracked file. So just understand that untracked files are basically files which are not getting tracked. So if you make any changes in the untracked file, you can't able to roll back. Okay, so you can't able to switch to its previous version. But if the file is in staging area, and if you make any changes after that, then you can roll back to its previous version. So let's say right now I have written this Krish here. Okay, and if I now here, let's say I will write another name. Okay, let's take some name from the chat itself. So let's say Sunil. Okay, So if I write here Sunil, and now if I write git status again, so here you can see this file is in modified stage. Okay, names.txt. Why? Because previously when we did it, it was in a like the changes as in staged area, and it needs to be committed. So it won't show me that okay, this file is modified. But now when I added a new line here, some changes in the names.txt file. Here it shows me that it's in modified stage. So that's how basically Git works, right? That it tracks your whole history, and the main purpose of it is to maintain the history. And if you want, you can roll back to its previous version. So this will really be use. This is really useful in your real life scenario where, let's say, you are creating some project, and you have made some feature which is working right now. And what happens is, I have seen these things mostly in hackathons where like it was working in the last night of a hackathon, and when judge came, just like the project crashed and we are not able to showcase the project. So to minimize this problem of like getting our code base crashed, or like uh, to basically like maintain the git version control its history, we will use git. So let's say if something like that happened where like our code is currently not working, and like previously it was working, then what we can do is, whenever our code is working, whenever we added a new major feature, just add a commit to that feature. So even after that, if we make any changes and we are not able, like, and that is not working properly, you can roll back to that previous commit which is working, right? So when we have to showcase the project, at least we have some code which is working, right? So this is like really useful in software industry, and even in like your college projects as well. So I would just say, like, if you are working on any of your personal project, then please do use Git. So it will help you to manage a proper version history. And obviously, like, if you do it with Git, you will upload it on GitHub. It will help you to create a portfolio as well. So we'll explain you later like how to use GitHub and how it will help you. But here, just understand that like basically Git helps you to maintain your version control, and it helps you to collaboratively work together. So yeah, here what we have done is we have modified this file. So once we modified the file, we need to again add that file to a staging area, that is by using git add command. So I will here git add, and the name of the file, that is names.txt. So now when I write this command, and if I write git status again, so now you can see that modified thing is removed. So now it will say that okay, names.txt is ready to get committed. So there are no like it's not in a modified stage, and this new.txt is in untracked files. Like I haven't added it in the staging area yet. So here what I will do is I will also add this new.txt in the staging area. So I'll just add git add new.txt. So now you can see that I have two files, both are in the staging area. So now let's see how we can commit these files. So for that, there is this command called git commit, and here you can write this -m to write a message. So if I don't write -m and just write git commit, what it will do is it will open a new editor for me where I can write my commit message. But to like remove that extra step, what I will do is simply just write git commit -m, and here I will write git initialized, okay, initial commit of git maybe. Or I would suggest that please write a proper commit messages. So whenever you want to roll back to the previous version, you actually note, okay, this is like the commit where I want to roll back. Because if you don't write the git messages properly, it will uh, basically won't help you much. Okay, so always write a better commit messages, and so it's a good practice. So yeah, please maintain that. So here we can write the actual message like what we are doing in this commit. So let's say here I will write added names.txt and new.txt. Okay, so once I do it, here you can see two file chains mode created. So basically what this does is this add this history in the git. So right now, if I let me show you where this all history is getting stored. So here if I write ls, here you can see there are only two files. But if I write ls hyphen a, so hyphen a basically like list all the hidden files. So here you can see there is this file called .git. So inside this .git folder, we have all of like the internal files which Git uses to maintain this system. So you don't need to understand how it basically works internally, but here I'm just trying to explain you that this is actually not a magic. Okay, this all data like the history is getting stored in this hidden folder that is .git. So okay, Krish commented that git commit also has a date flag, so you can commit in the future past. Okay, only Krish knows. So let's do some more things, right? So now you can see like this both are committed. So like even the color of that files are also changed, right? So let's create some more things here. So let me explain you the concept of branching. So where branch can be useful is let's say you are working on a project, and like so two people are there where both people wants to work on a same code base. So here it's recommended that you create a separate branch of your current version. So right now if you see here, after this git your main is written. Okay, even here in the VS Code it shows like what is the current branch. So right now I am in the main branch. So by default whenever you use git init and you initialize your git repository, it will by default create a main branch for you. But you can also create a different branches. So branch is basically considered as a different copy of your code. So it will create a separate copy of your code with the current snapshot of your git history, right? So right now let's see what is like git snapshot and git history. So if I write git log here, so these are like the all the commits which I have done till. So till now I just have done one commit, right, where I return that I have added names.txt and new.txt. So this is about like the getting the git logs. And now what I will do here is I will create a new branch. So I will write git branch git. I will directly create git checkout hyphen b and the branch name. So let's give branch name as a feature branch, and I just enter. So this did two things. First is it created a new branch called feature, and it switched my current branch to feature. Okay, so here the two git commands are actually combined here. So here you can see if I write git status here, so this is not getting updated here, but yeah, right now my current branch is, you can see here, is feature branch. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. That you can create a different branch using this command git checkout hyphen b branch, or either you can use git branch and you can give your branch name, and then you can switch to that. So now what we'll do is we'll create some branches here. Yeah, Krish is correct. You can also edit commits with an amend flag. So let's say we want to edit the commit message, that is also possible. So yeah, don't worry if you have given an incorrect commit, you can anyways do it update it. But it always recommended that just follow the best practices and give the proper commit messages. So someone asked that what is Git branch? Yeah, what is a branch? Yeah, no worries, Shubham. I'm explaining you that what is the branch of. So yeah, I've created this new snapshot of feature. Okay. So yeah, Chris return in the comment. That's correct. So whenever I write git checkout hyphen b, the branch name, it basically runs two commands, that is git branch name and git checkout to that particular branch. So even we can do that here as well. So yeah, let's quickly create another branch as well if I want. So I will first git switch main here. So right now I was on a feature branch. So here you can see feature was written. Now I again switch to main branch, and let's say I want to create another branch. What I will do is I will write git branch and let's say new feature. Okay. So now this new branch is created, but you can see my current branch is still main. Okay. So here I will write is git branch git switch new feature, right? So now once I write this command, that is git switch, it will switch my current branch to this new feature. So yeah, this is about like switching to branches. So let's push some code here, right? Let's write some code here. So what I will do here is okay, so we'll create a new file here, that is, let's say, features, right? And here what I will write is, let me just give a name proper, features.txt. Okay, so here I will write feature as learning git branching. Okay, so yeah, I have written so this simple text here. And if I write git status here now, you can see this is in untracked file, untracked mode, because we haven't added it in the staging area yet. So we'll add it in the staging area. So here there is also one shortcut that instead of writing git add and the file in, you can also do git add dot. So if I write this, it will add all of the files which are in the untracked area to a staging area. So yeah, here I will write. So now it's added in the staging area. If I write git status here you can see that a new file is created. Okay, like the changes to be committed. So this is in the staging area. So it's ready to get commit. So I will write the commit message added features dot txt in okay, just write this. Okay, so once I do this and I write git status again, here you can see that right now everything is nothing to commit and working pretty clean. So this suggests that everything is in the committed stage and you haven't made any changes after that. So everything is clean right now. So yeah, here now let me show you how we can merge this branch. Okay, so let's say you have working on a same feature, you have created a different branch out of it, and another person is working on that different branch. And now what you want to do is, now you want to merge both branches. Okay, so you want to merge that another branch into the main branch again, because like the feature on which that person is working on has completed its work, and now we want to merge it with the main. So let's say right now, like I added the new feature in this new feature branch, and I want to add this, like merge these changes to my main. So what I can do is I'll just write git merge, and here I can so right now I have to switch to the main branch first. I'll just switch to the main branch, git switch main, and what I will do is I'll write git merge new feature. Okay, so you can see that once I write this git merge new feature, and if I write git status here, wait, I write git log here. You can see, yeah, this new commit is added here, but actually this new commit is from new feature branch. Okay, and we merged that new feature branch to main. So this is how basically like you can merge these things. You will understand it better when you actually use this merging thing with GitHub, because see, generally it's a practice that we won't merge the branches directly using CLI. What we do is we create a pull request. So we'll create this branch, and then we'll push it to the GitHub, and through GitHub we'll create a pull request, and through that pull request the reviewer reviews that code, and then it gets merged. I will show you how it will be done. So what we will do next is let me quickly, okay, let me quickly like push this branch to the GitHub as well, right? So I'll just open GitHub here. A second. I'll just open new. So I guess here also like there is this shortcut repo.new which you can use to create a new repo on GitHub. So yeah, if you write that, just make sure that you are logged into the GitHub here. So here I will write a name that is, let's say, HTF Git. Okay, and here if I want I can give description as well. So I right now I'll just keep everything simple, and I will create this new repository. So here I will creating new repository. So yeah, once you create a new repository here on GitHub, so it will show you some commands how you can push the code. But yeah, before that I actually forgot to explain you what is GitHub. So consider that some like I always face these questions that people are actually confused between Git and GitHub. Okay, some people think that okay both things are same, but it's not like that. So just consider that Git and GitHub is like email and Gmail. Okay, so email is actually a tech which is working behind the scenes, and Gmail is basically a client side application which helps you to maintain your emails. So similarly, the Git is basically a tech. Okay, it's a tool, and GitHub is a platform where you actually host your Git repositories. So like right now, whatever commands I run are, and the history is created inside a Git is local. Okay. So if like someone else working remotely, they can't access my Git repository. So what I have to do is I have to push my Git repository to some like Git repository hosting platform, like let's say GitHub, where like that repository is there on cloud. So like GitHub will store it on their servers, and like anyone who have access to that particular repository can access it. So similarly, consider this as a Google Drive. Okay, though it's a bad example, but just consider for easier like, understanding. Just consider that GitHub is basically a Google Drive to host your Git repositories. Though GitHub provides lots of other features, but simply like it helps you to host your local repository on cloud, where you can like share it with anyone and they can work collaboratively on actually a platform, right? And right now like GitHub have lots of features, like if you just press dot, like you like whole VS code will be open inside your browser as well. So lots of features you can do on using GitHub. So you will learn it on the go. So here what we'll do is first, like we created this new repository. So simply just consider like creating a new repo on GitHub is similar to maybe creating a new folder on let's say Google Drive, right? So here what we want to do is we want to push our code to this repository. So there are like two options. Okay, one is like use these commands. Another is to upload directly by drag and drop. But I always recommend that please don't upload files directly from your computer to GitHub, because it's not a good practice. Always do it from CLI, or even you don't want to use commands, you can use GitHub Desktop. But like we are developers, right? We don't like UIs. We want CLIs. So like I always use Git like CLI to push my code. Like I write commands there, but there are some people who are not that much comfortable, so they might use GitHub Desktop as well for easier convenience. But I always recommend that you use CLI and you use Git commands, because in the industry people use that and it's a good practice. So yeah, what we'll do is we will just simply copy these commands and we push our code. Okay. So here this shows that first we need to git init, then we need to add our file. So here like this have created readme.md, but we don't have it. No, don't worry, we'll create it later. So here will you git init is already done. We have already committed. Okay. So like our like we already committed our changes. So what else we want to do is we just need to add these two commands. First is git remote add origin and another is git push. So first I will copy this thing here. Yeah, just I'll just copy that command, that is git remote add origin and the URL. So this git remote add origin will be same for every cases. So origin is basically the remote name. Okay, so the remote repo name. Even you want, you can give another name as well, but mostly like it's standard practice that we give, that we use this word origin. And then this GitHub, this is like the URL where we want to push. Okay, so we want to know, right, where our code needs to be get pushed. So that's why we just add the URL, and here we add this origin. So here I will just press enter. So now you can see that we have added the remote URL for our Git repo. So right now this repository is local, that like no one can access this repository. But now what I will do is I will push this code to Git remote repository, where like anyone can see the code if that repo is public. So here first let me write git remote hyphen v. So if I write this command here, you can see there is this two URL. One is for fetch, one is for push. Okay. So push is like where you want to push some code to a repository, and fetch is when you want to fetch some. So let's say someone else have made some changes and they push the code to GitHub, and you want to pull those changes, right? So let's say Krish has made some changes in this repository by creating a new branch, and he has pushed some code to the main as well. So and right now I also have main branch locally, but my main branch is different than the main branch on the main GitHub repository where Krish has pushed some changes. So what I can do is I will write one command git pull, and it will get all of the changes which Krish has done, which Krish has pushed to the Git remote repository. So my local main branch is also updated. So yeah, let's see how these things will work, right? So first of all, we will just push this code to Git remote repository. So I'll write git push origin main. Okay, so yeah, if I write it here, you can see it like just compress some files and it push the code. So here you can see right now there are no files, right? But now you will see the magic. Okay, so here you can see these files are updated. Like we the files which we created locally are pushed here, and it also has this commit message with it. So yeah, this is how you can create a Git repository locally and you can push it to GitHub. Now, what's next? Right? What's next? So here you can see here right now I only have this one branch, that is me. So now what we will do is we'll create a new feature branch locally and we push that branch here and we merge our code using GitHub only. We want to merge it using our commands, right? So let's try to do it. So here I will go again. Let me create a new branch here. So I will create a git. Here now we'll create this. We'll take a different route. So we already created one branch. If you remember, we already created the feature branch. So if you want to list all of the branches, what you can do is you can just write git branch, and it will list all of the branches for you. So right now we have three branches. Where we are on currently we are on main branch, but we have two other branches, that is new feature and feature branch. So now I will switch to the feature branch, which we like the first branch which we created, right? So here I will switch to feature branch. Okay. Okay. So right now it says that a local changes should be overwritten by checkout. So okay, I have some changes here. Okay. What changes I have done? So before switching, so this is it. See what happened here is, so right now if you have any uncommitted, like let's say the changes after committing, like if you have any changes in staging area or in untracked files, it won't you can't actually switch to different branch, right? So it's always recommended that you commit all of the things in your current branch and then you switch. So I'll write git switch um, feature branch. So yeah, now we have switched to feature branch. And here now what happened is, see, whenever we created a feature branch, we created it from main, but at that time main doesn't have that feature.txt file. So right now here the feature branch only have these two files, but our main branch have three files. So here what we have to do is we need to merge our main branch to this feature. So for that I will just write git merge main. See, when I write it, it merged all of the changes from main. So it took the history of main and it pushed it to the feature branch. So right now I get all of my changes from main to my feature branch. So now what we will do is we'll create a new file here and we push our changes. So here let me create a new file. Let's say um important important features .txt. So here I'll write the important feature. So here I'll write a simple like git pull, because we will be learning how to create a pull request here. Git pull request. So, okay. Now we have added this line here, and now if I write git status, obviously it was in untracked files, because now I guess you understand like how things will work. So whenever you create a new file, it will be in untracked area. Now when I write git add and important features.txt, it will be in staging area. And now when I write git commit, and I will write some message here. So let's say important features.txt file added. The file is added. So I like the it's in the committed stage, right? So if I write get status here now, you can see on branch feature nothing to commit. So now in this feature branch we have four files, but on our main branch we have only three files. So now what we want is we want that our main branch will also have this all changes which are created in this feature branch. So like previously the way which I shown you is like we switch to the main branch and we directly merge this branch to main, but it's not good practice actually. So what we will do here is we will push this feature branch to our GitHub and we'll create a pull request and then we'll merge it. So here I will push this particular branch here. So what I will do is git push origin feature. So previously we written the main. Here I will push. I will write feature because we want to push the feature branch. So here I will write git push origin feature. So now if we when if we go here in our GitHub repository, so now you can see we get this recommendation that okay, feature had recently pushed changes in less than a minute. So it automatically asks us to create a pull request. And here also, if you see here, I have two branches now. So previously, when I push the code, we only have one branch that is main. Now we have feature branches. So what I will do is I will click here compare and pull request. So what it will do is it will automatically like add this title based on my commit message. And here, if you want, you can also add some comments. So I'll just write added a new file, added a new feature file. Okay, it would be any message. So here I'm just showing you for like for the demo purpose. So yeah, once you write it, what you can do is here also you can see if you scroll down, you can see what changes are created. So this is like right now a very simple change. Like I have just added one single line, but in the actual PRs there will be lots of changes, like thousands and 2000s lines of code. So yeah, this is like the you can see what changes are actually created. And here if I click here on create pull request, you can see that the pull request is created. So this is like the default tab whenever you open this repository. But here like we have this multiple options. So one is this issues. So this issues tab is to create an issue. So mostly like in Hacktoberfest, what happens is the organizations will open up the issues. So you can just go to this issues tab, and from there you can find up the issue. And once you find the issue, you can work on that issue. And once that thing is done, you can push your changes, and that will be, and you can create a pull request out of it. So this is like the pull request which we created right now. So here even so this is like, see, pull request will be merged by the maintainer of your of that project. So right now I am the creator and I am the person who created the pull request. But in general, like in like let's say for the Hacktoberfest, what happen is like there will be some maintainers of this project who will maintain this project, and there will be the open source contributors like us, right? Who will work on the issues and who wants to um, make changes to that repo. Like we want to contribute to that code. So for that, we create a pull request pipeline where like there will be some automated test will be which will run automatically when you create a pull request. So right now this is very simple repo, so you can't understand that. But when you contribute to an open source repo, like there will be some tests as well. So if that test fails, you can't merge the PR. So yeah, right now like the PR is already raised. What we'll do is we will uh, create here. I will just click here merge PR, and once I confirm merge, my PR is merged, right? So right now you can see previously we had only 3 files in the main, but when I merged it, now I have 4 files here. So yeah, that's how basically like the pull request things work. And also like let me show you some websites where you can find some good first issues as well. So if I go to my slide back, let's go back there. So now we have seen like the basic Git hands on, right? This is like how the um, branches in Git work. So right now what we have done is we have basically merged the branches, right? But there is also a concept called rebasing. So in merging, what happens is that if we create a new branch and then we merge it, then it won't have all of the history of that another branch. So there will be only one commit of that these two branches are merged. But in rebasing, what happens is so when whatever changes we made in another branch are also added in the commit messages. Actually this is like a bit complex process. If we create it using I can show you using the command line as well, but maybe we are out of time. So right now I'll just explain you basics, that just understand that in merging it won't add all of the commit messages of our feature branch, but in rebasing it will add all of the commit messages of the feature branch, right? So here you can see from this diagram that there is this main branch and another is feature branch. So whenever we merge it, we won't have these commit messages in our main branch. But when we rebase it, it will add all of these commit messages in our actual branch, the main branch, right? So that's the like the basic difference between merging and rebasing. Then what is GitHub? I hope that most of you already know about it. And I also explained you like it's basically a platform to manage and work collaboratively on a code basis. So I guess most of you are students right now. Yeah, right? Yes. So I would request you all that to scan this QR code and please get student developer pack. So what is GitHub student developer pack is you will get lots of benefits from that. So you can get free 1 year domain. You can get some learning tools for free. Okay. So yeah, please scan this QR code and get the GitHub education pack. So there is like a referral code associated with this QR. So if you scan this, your application will be fast forwarded. So yeah, if you are a student and if you don't have GitHub student developer pack, then I would say what you are doing, man. Just go and get it. So yeah, just scan this QR code. I will keep this slide for a few more seconds. You can just take a screenshot or maybe just scan it from your mobile and apply for GitHub education pack. So yeah,
Thank you so much, Raj, for that lovely workshop. I see a lot of attendees were hooked to your workshop and were, asking their questions, giving their suggestions throughout the entirety of the session. So hats off. And Git and GitHub workshops are a personal favorite of mine. So moving on, the next session that we have is by Shivangi Kumari, who is a club lead at GDSCT and she'll be speaking on contribute to open source with a broader purpose. Over to you, Shivangi. The stage is yours.
One second, I'm presenting my slides. I hope it's visible. Is it? Can anyone confirm? So, hello everyone. Hope all of you are doing well. I am Shivangi Kumari. I am a Google Developer Student Club's lead at TECV, which is my college, and I'm also an open source enthusiast. And I have been contributing to open source from the past 1.5 years. So, really glad to have you all here today. Um, I'm excited to guide you on the journey of contributing to open source with a broader purpose. That's my topic for today. So let's start. Yeah. So if you find yourself as an absolute beginner, unfamiliar with the concept of open source, then this might be your reaction. So let me clarify by providing you some real world examples to help you understand what open source really is. Okay, so I'm sure you guys must have encountered one or more of these software tools at some point in your life. Perhaps VLC Media Player, which, as the name suggests, is a versatile multimedia player capable of handling a wide array of media formats. So it is one of the most popular open source software. Another notable mention is Linux, which is an operating system and is also a prominent example of open source collaboration. Then we have Mozilla Firefox, which is a very popular web browser developed by Mozilla Foundation and is also an open source software. So there is an abundance of open source software available in various domains around us. So now let's discuss what it actually is. Yeah. Um, so open source software is software whose we are now discussing about the features of open source software. So open source software is a software whose source code, which is the code of the project or software, is publicly available for anyone to see. Like in the screenshot or you can see on the slides that this is the code of app, right? And you can see all of the codes are available for public to see. You can see different folders, different files. You can see different issues that is in the code, or different pull requests or anything else in the GitHub of the project, of the open source projects. Um, so most of these open source softwares or projects are hosted on platforms like GitHub or GitLab. So let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. So what sets apart open source apart is that it goes beyond mere visibility. Users can actively engage with the code. This includes the ability to modify the code, rectify bugs, introduce new features, and in some cases, scare the maintainers by making these many changes too. As you can see in the picture, that this person made 326 uh, changes. All right. So these are the different ways through which you can use open source. Let's move on to the next slide. Yep, that's the favorite part of mine. So I the true strength of open source lies in its educational aspect. It allows others, the developers like me and you, to inspect the code and learn from it. So, since it is publicly available, you have the rights to inspect it, you can modify it, you can do as many things as you want with the code. And by doing all of these, the most important thing that you get is you get to learn from it, right? Like how developers have structured the code, or how they are modifying it or anything else. So, to summarize it all, unlike closed source software, open source projects invite users to not only utilize the software but also results in continuous improvements, rapid bug fixes, and innovative solutions which cater to a broad spectrum of user needs. Let's move to the next slide. Yeah. So now that you know that uh, open source means or now that you know that what open source is, uh, we have to next figure out your why. Like, you have to figure out why do you want to contribute to these open source softwares or projects in the first place. So are you driven by a desire to explore diverse domains, or you want to give some renowned open source programs like Google Summer of Code, MLH Fellowship, Outreachy, or any other try? Or you are someone who loves to learn things by doing it? So you have your own reasons of trying out open source projects or getting into open source contributions, right? So figure out your why. Like, why are you interested to contribute in the open source? Next, are you looking for you might be looking for remote jobs, or you have been inspired by stories of people getting into their dream companies through impactful open source contributions. There can be many different reasons. Take the time to identify your why. Like, that's the first step, and is an important one in defining your purpose and establishing your clear goals and all. So in my case, I was driven by the desire to gain hands-on experience and apply my theoretical knowledge and understanding of different concepts. So your motivation could entirely be different, and that's perfectly valid. Understand your why sets the stage for a purposeful and fulfilling engagement with the open source. So let's move to the next slide. Yeah. Um, so you have a clear purpose, right now, that why do you want to start with open source. So now as you embark on your contributors journey, now the question now becomes like, where do you find projects that align with your interests? So one effective way to answer this question is to explore GitHub, like directly search some specific kind of projects that you are looking to contribute to. Maybe you are looking for web development projects, maybe you are looking for app development projects, machine learning projects. Just go to GitHub and search the project name or the tech stack that you want to work on. Also, Hacktoberfest website also has a very beginner friendly list of projects that you can start contributing to if you are new and you are unable to figure out where to start and how to start. So yeah, this is how you will find your projects to work on. Yeah. So we are developers, right? And we pay attention to things that most people ignore, right? So let's see what are the most important things that people ignore that you should not. Yeah. So project documentation plays a very crucial role in the development and maintenance of open source software. And here is why. So the documentation is prepared in a way that a diverse group of contributors can understand the project structure, coding standards, and technologies used, and make themselves aware of the different guidelines or troubleshooting methods or facts, and other important things they need to know to learn before contributing to their projects. So do not ignore documentations. Be Tony Stark and master anything through documentation in one night only. All right. Yeah. So the next thing that people ignore is contributing guidelines and code of conduct. So every well-documented open source software has contributing guidelines in it that serve as a set of instructions for individuals or newcomers who want to contribute to the project. It may include instructions on setting up the development environment of the project, or some coding standards, some branching strategies, or some issue and pull request conventions, and community guidelines, and other things that you need to follow. So then we have a code of conduct, which contains a set of principles and guidelines that define how you should be interacting with the community members of that organization. So you see, an organization consists of people from a diverse group, right? And we should try to create a safe and welcoming space for everyone. And things that might be okay in your culture might not be okay, or might be offending to others. So avoid using offensive words or discriminating against people based on their background or experience level. So this is all the things that are these are all the things that are mentioned in the contributing guidelines and code of conduct that you should definitely read if you don't want to violate their code of conduct, or so make sure you read it properly before starting their contribution. You read project documentation, you read contributing guidelines, as well as you read the code of conduct of the project that you are going to contribute to. Let's move to the next slide. Yeah. Um, So I remember my first contribution was adding a hover effect to a project, and I was really happy that day. I was like on cloud nine that, yay, I contributed to the project. So this idea of contributing to a project and being able to use my skills or to improve something was so fascinating to me. It still is, but that was the first time, so I was really happy. Uh, but then I saw some people posting about their contributions online using terminologies that I couldn't even pronounce. So I was like, I was really sad that day after seeing that they are contributing to so many different things, and here I am adding hover effect and being happy about it. So it took me some time to understand the entire Git and GitHub thing, how to create pull requests, how to start with the contribution, how to create issues, how to read the documentation of a project thoroughly. Also, uh, I also made very a lot of mistakes while contributing to the projects. Like I was an absolute beginner, and I was I really used to get intimidated by the uh, projects or the amount of big terms that they used to use and all. So it took me some time to understand that everyone's timeline of learning is different. You might be good at something that others are not, so don't judge yourself. Don't say that just because you never know, right? That the, the people that you are getting intimidated to might be uh, doing this open source contribution for 5+ years, and they have some experience of more than 5+ years. They might do this as a full time. They might be working in some company, and they are very familiar with the projects and all. So you don't know, so don't judge yourself. Don't quit too early because of getting intimidated by anyone. So make sure you read everything properly. And also, open source is known for the support, the community support, right? If you get stuck somewhere, I'm pretty sure that anyone from the community might guide you, or they can teach you the things that you are stuck at. So don't lose hope yet. That's what I want to say about not getting intimidated by people, or by people who have really good experience in open source. Let's move to the next slide. So as I said that starting small is fine. You can start from creating or hover effect or something, uh, or adding hover effect to your friend's repository or some big organizations or something else. But just make sure that you don't get stuck there. So it is absolutely fine to start small. I also started with the very basic PRs and all, very basic issues. I started. Some people also make contributions by changing uh, by translating the documentation of the project, by designing or by any other means that they can do. So. Uh, it's completely fine to start small. um, but how do you take on challenging issues? Like see, if you get comfortable in something, if you get comfortable that I am like okay with now front end part of the thing, like the I am okay with React JS, let's say. And if you aspire to be a full stack developer, and you are still 2 months 3 months passed by, and you're only fixing the front end or the styling of the website, then that won't help you, right? That won't help you. You won't grow. So make sure that you take on some challenging issues, or it maybe you want to contribute to some backend projects. So look for backend projects and find issues and that you are not comfortable with, right? So the The main learning begins when you uh, in the time when you are trying to solve the problem. Like, you will read documentations, you will read, maybe you don't understand the documentation and all, so you might be taking help from chat gpt, which is my best friend, because whenever I don't understand something, be it in the documentation or the overall project, I try to learn it. I try to ask it from chat gpt, and it clears everything. So you will learn a lot when you take on some challenging issues. So don't stuck at a specific issue or something, because always remember that life begins outside of your comfort zone, and it is you will grow. That's the only way of you, how you will grow, and um, how will you improve yourself, especially in this open source field or way. So yeah, that was all I wanted to talk about contributing to open source and all. You can connect with me by scanning this QR code. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shivangi, for that lovely talk. You indeed covered it all, the whys behind contributing to open source, the learning, the networking, the overall impact at large. And I'm sure when you talked about the intimidation that comes your way before making your first contribution, I'm sure that part might have struck a chord with a lot of folks over here. So it was a really holistic talk covering everything in and out. So, attendees, I hope that the excitement is still high, and I hope you're taking screenshots of your learning, you're posting them, you're tweeting them, you're using the hashtags, you're tagging us because the giveaway is still on. Also, on that note, I would like to introduce our next speaker, who is Satakshi Jain, former club lead at GDSC MIET, and she'll be talking on open source alchemy navigating Hacktoberfest. Over to you, Satakshi.
Hello everyone. I hope I am audible. Okay, so thanks Harshita for introducing me. So this is Satakshi Jain. I am the former GDSC lead at GDSC MIT, and I was the mentor at GSOC Girls Trip Summer of Code. So let's start with today's talk. So in this we will cover why open source, followed by how you can find a project to contribute in Hacktoberfest, and how you can make your first contribution. We will deep dive into a quick short demo how you can make your first contribution, and then after that we will see what happens after submitting a contribution, and at last we will look into beyond Hacktoberfest, in which programs you can contribute. Okay, so why open source? So can you type in quick chat box why open source? Just a quick reply. Why one should contribute to open source? Mm, okay. So let me tell you why contribute to open source. Open source contributions provide students with the opportunity to work on real world projects. Like, you will work on some real world projects, you will gain some knowledge, you will gain some credibility and collaboration, as Anushka mentioned in the chat, and you can improve your existing skills, like whether it is coding skill, whether user interface designs or graphic designing or technical writing. Like, this is a myth that open source is just for coding. You can contribute in various other domains also, like graphic designing and technical writing. Basically, in readmes, we do technical writing, and so people who are good in technical writing, they contribute there as well. So it is a great way to engage in communities where people love to network with like-minded peers, and you can find some really great mentors who can guide you, and you also learn about future career opportunities. So it also improves your problem solving skills by, because once you collaborate and work on a project, you get feedback from experienced people. So this really helps in getting your problem solving skills great, and improves the code quality. Okay, so these are some points why you should contribute to open source. Now let's see introduction to Hacktoberfest. So you all must be knowing that Hacktoberfest is a month-long event of open source projects, maintainers, and the entire community of contributions. So can somebody tell me, is this your first Hacktoberfest you will be contributing, or you have already contributed before? If you can type in the chat. Okay, first, yeah, Krish, Hacktoberfest has its 10th anniversary this year, but still some of them will be contributing for the first time. Okay. So the primary goal of Hacktoberfest is to foster collaboration, learnings, and community engagement within the open source ecosystem. By participating in Hacktoberfest, the beginners can get started with the open source journey, and they can get a chance to showcase their unique skill set. Like, this is not only a program where you can get started apart from Hacktoberfest also, but for beginners, it is slightly easy to get into open source through Hacktoberfest. So to participate in Hacktoberfest, you can register anytime between September 26th and October 31st. Then in this you have to merge poll pull request accepted between October 1st and 30 October 1 and October 31, and you will receive a unique digital reward. This time we don't have swags, but we have a lot of digital swags this year. And the first 50,000 participants who have their first PR accepted will have a tree planted in the name through Tree Nation. And in this, the project maintainers must accept your pull request for them to count towards your total. Okay, so basically you have to get 4 pull requests merged. So this is now, who is Oktoberfest event for? Like, you can contribute as a contributor, you can contribute as a maintainer, and you can contribute as a beginner. Like, some of you are beginners here. So in maintainers maintain an open source project. Maintainer can be a developer who has contributed before, who has some experience in contributing, so that he or she can merge your pull request by seeing all the changes and giving you feedbacks. Contributors can be who generally works in a tech role or who is familiar with Git. Like, we recently had a great session by Viraj on how to use Git, and the workshop was amazing. And beginners like you who have never made a pull request and who want to learn about how to get into open source can also contribute. So yes, Hacktoberfest registrations are open. You can register now. Simply what you have to do is go into the Hacktoberfest website, and then you can simply click on register. Then you have to initialize your GitHub account or GitLab account, and you have to answer few questions, and then you can simply register. Okay, now the most important part, how to find a project to contribute. So this is the basic and the most important part. Like, some of us don't even find a project to contribute, being a newbie. So, firstly, you must decide which programming language, framework, or technologies you are comfortable in, like in which tech stack you want to work, and this will help in narrow down your research. Like, if you are a web developer, you must be knowing HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. So you will contribute in those projects. If you are an Android developer, you will contribute in the projects which are related to Android. So firstly, decide your tech stack, and then you can simply search on GitHub based on your interest. Okay. So use filters to search for projects based on your interest, skills, and programming language. So once you decide which programming language or framework you are comfortable with and you can get started, you can simply search on GitHub by writing the skill name or by writing the programming language. Like you want to contribute in HTML, so you can go and simply search HTML. So you will get the repositories which have HTML. So basically all have in web development. So we can take example of JavaScript. Like if you want to contribute in a JavaScript project, you can simply write JavaScript and you will find all the projects there. Another way is you can also use Hacktoberfest label to search for projects which are under Hacktoberfest this year. You can contribute in a project. So one main thing is you should contribute in a project in which maintainer is active, so that your doubts get resolved and you can easily take the feedbacks and do the changes and you can learn easily. Next is, if you are a beginner, consider starting with beginner friendly projects. Like look for issues which are labeled as good first issues or beginner friendly issues. You can also see these labels in the repos. All the maintainers have mentioned these labels, so you can easily find them there. We'll also see a quick demo on how you can do these. Secondly, once you find a project that interests you, look for a contributing or readme file, so that you can get a quick awareness of how you can contribute and how what are the guidelines provided by the maintainer. So readme is very important. Through that you have the whole overview of the project. So find a project which has a contributing MD or README file. Then review the project's documentation, code of conduct to understand the project standards and expectations. This will also help you in getting started. Okay, so I hope you are here, and now we'll learn how to contribute. So here I have listed 6 main points. Like in making the first contribution, you have to communicate effectively. Second, you have to set up your local environment. Then you have to search for issues in which you can contribute, followed by you can create your own issues as well in the repositories. And you can also make required changes and fix bugs in the issues which are already mentioned by the maintainer. And then simply you can create a pull request. Okay. So why communication is important? Because you cannot directly jump on a repo and make a pull request. First you have to, the good practices, first you have to ask the maintainer, like, I want to contribute to this and I would like to make these changes, and then the maintainer will assign you that project. And after the project has been assigned to you, you can uh, contribute to that. So after that, set up your local environment. You can simply fork that repo and it will create a copy of that repo in your local environment. Then you have to make the required changes and create a pull request. So we'll see this through a quick demo. Let me share the screen. Okay, just a second. Okay, so for searching the projects, you can simply type Hacktoberfest. And here you can see there are all the results of the projects which are under Hacktoberfest. So these are the repositories in which you can contribute. If you are beginner, you can simply search good first issues. So here all the good first issues are there, so you can contribute in them. If you want to narrow down your search through the technology, then you can simply write JavaScript, and all the projects will showcase here. Okay, so now let's have a quick demo on how you can contribute. So just a second, let me go into my repository which is under Hacktoberfest. So how a page look like. So simply you can see a fork button here. You can simply click on this and this will fork in your local development. It is not forking because it's my own project. So simply click here and it will create the copy of the repository. Okay. Then after that you can see this code button. You can simply download the zip file and uh, create a folder. This will create a folder and you can directly open in VS Code or whichever environment you like. Then you can simply open with VS Code from here also. And if you want to clone this repo on your local environment like VS Code, so what you have to do is simply click on this and copy this and write the command git clone, and this will get cloned. Okay. After that, you have to do small changes in this, like if I open my VS Code, just a sec. Here is the here is the repo. I hope you can see the repo. No. Okay. So I'll make changes here only. Like in this readme, we have to change the readme. So you can simply write what coding hustler is. Coding hustlers is a platform for beginners. Like I am doing a small change here and commit changes. Okay. So once you commit the changes, this will update, and after that you can create a pull request from here, like create new pull request from here, and this will work fine. After this, the maintainer will see the changes and will review your code, and then he will merge the pull request. So here no issues are there as of now, but you can create the issues and get them labeled for good first issues. So first you have to ask from the maintainer, like, can I contribute to this or not? Okay. So this is a short and a quick demo. So now let's get into the PPT again. So what happens after submitting the contribution? So there are four things: you don't get a response, or the maintainer demands some request or changes to your contribution. Your contribution doesn't get accepted, and the final one is your contribution get accepted. So if you don't get a response, you should wait for 1 week. This is the ideal practice and the good practice. After 1 week, you can ask the maintainer like what happens, or you can take the feedback on that. Second is, the maintainer demands some changes in the contribution, and that likely happens because it's their code base and you have to work according to the feedback provided by them. So you can simply do the changes and make the contribution. Last is, your contribution doesn't get accepted. So no worries if your contribution doesn't get accepted. You can make another contribution. You can ask the maintainer politely that why it wasn't accepted, what are the feedbacks and all. And lastly, your contribution get accepted, and great, you have contributed for the first time, and you can create the merge pull request. So after this, beyond Hacktoberfest, like after Hacktoberfest, in which programs you can contribute? You can contribute to Google Summer of Code, all must be knowing, and you can contribute to MLH fellowships, followed by Google Season of Docs, Outreachy, Season of KDE, Linux Kernel Mentorship Program, Hyperledger Mentorship Program, and Gulfstream Summer of Code. And last is Social Summer of Code. So after Oktoberfest, you must contribute, and you should not stop your contribution journey here only. So this is all from my side. You can connect with me here, and if you have any questions, I would love to take the questions in the Discord after the lunch. So that's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Satakshi, for that impressive talk, along with the lovely demo. Next on, moving ahead, we have a talk by Santosh Vishwanatham, who is an ambassador at Interledger Foundation. Santosh will be talking on coding for change, Hacktoberfest with Interledger. Handing over the stage over to you, Santosh, and also audience. Interledger Foundation happens to be a partner for today's Hacktoberfest by Hack This Call event as well. So over to you, Santosh.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Santosh. I'm a software engineer at Marvin. I build a research platform and where I work in the front end development efforts of our application. And in my free time, I also contribute to open source and contribute to open source communities. And that's how I have been involved with Interledger for a while now. Previously, I was also a Mozilla tech speaker. So as a front-end engineer, I learn a lot about open web technologies, and anything that happens in the open web space is something that excites me personally. So I used to go to technical conferences and communities and share what I learn and love about open web technologies. At Interledger, I'm an ambassador right now, where I'm working on different standards, web standards related to open payments. And in the next few slides, I think I'll talk more about that in detail. So today, I'll be talking about coding for change and how you can get involved with Interledger for this Hacktoberfest. For me personally, even I have been contributing to Hacktoberfest from like 2015, and it has been a great journey. And Hacktoberfest not only provides us an opportunity to get involved with open source project, but it also introduces us to a lot of open source communities as well, where we could learn from each other. And people on social media talk about like multiple streams of income, but at the same time, as engineers, we should have multiple streams of knowledge. And that's why I got involved with that's how I got involved with the Interledger Foundation, so that I can learn from different people, different global audience, different global engineers, and get involved with the community and share what I learn in the same time. So who are we? So coming to Interledger, Interledger protocol is an open and neutral protocol for transferring money over the internet. It is built on the same TCP/IP protocol which we use, which the entire internet is built on, and it is designed for sending cross-border payments and cross-currency payments, instant payments, and ILP is a simple protocol that allows all these like truly instant payments, and no matter what the size of the payment is. So one of the questions that someone was asking in my previous session was like, what is the difference between Interledger protocol and Bitcoin. So it's not about Interledger protocol versus Bitcoin. It is about what currency do you want to use, and the wallet you are trying to use it. For example, if you want to accept payments in your Bitcoin, and I want to transfer payments in INR, I should be able to transfer the payments in my preferred currency, and you will be able to receive the payments in your preferred currency, which is Bitcoin. And the payment system, if the payment system is built on ILP, all this thing can be made possible. And ILP is a like I said, it's an open payments protocol, which is similar to like the way we have like SMTP. It is the same thing for payments. And what is our vision at Interledger? A world where sending payments is as easy as sending an email. So in the current scenario, if you see, I mean, you might be using Outlook, you might be using Gmail, or you might be using Apple Mail or any of your email systems. And the reason why they all work with each other, where you can send between different email services, is because they are all at the core built on the same protocol, which is like SMTP, Simple Message Transfer Protocol. We want the same thing. We want the payments to be as simple as that. We want the payment systems to be built on ILP, so that the interoperability becomes easy, and which will open up a lot of opportunities globally as well for a different set of people. And what is our mission? So the mission is to build equity and inclusion within an interoperable open global payments network. This means that we want to make sure that no matter where you are in the world, you should be able to fairly use a payment system, and fairly send money to each other wherever you might be in. We don't want anyone to be left out or treated unfairly. For example, I mean, if you consider our current banking scenario, you know the charges that get involved with. The rich are treated differently and the poor are treated differently. You get charged differently for the type of the customer you are for a bank. But at Interledger, we want to remove all these obstacles, and also we want to treat everyone fairly whenever they are using any payments built out of ILP. And our values are three. One is be open, be inclusive, and be innovative. When we say be open, we don't want our protocol to be secret. We want everyone to use it. We want everyone to build on top of it, and everyone can implement their cool ideas about like payments wallets using our Interledger protocol for free. When we say be inclusive, it's like, I mean, if someone sitting in New York City is designing a payment system, then it might not be valid for everyone across the world, right? It might not be valid for African countries or third world countries or European countries or any other places for that matter. But we want to be inclusive, and we want to welcome conversations so that everyone will be involved in building a protocol that will be valid for everyone. Imagine the UPI itself, how it changed. The reason why it actually transformed the way we do payments is because it was built keeping everyone in mind. And we want to do that at a global scale. So that's the whole idea of Interledger protocol. And be innovative. So what we mean by this is, I mean, if you do the same things again and again in the payment system in the same way that you have been doing for over 100 years or 200 years, you will end up with the same solution. So we want to be innovative, and we want to build new solutions and that is something we are very excited about in the payment space. And what is our role? So okay, we want to build an open protocol, we want to welcome all voices, and doing this, what is our role as Interledger? So we want to act with the neutrality. It's like a referee in a match. We want to be neutral in a decision making, like not like the referee in the yesterday's India Pakistan match, but it's like a general referee, like how we wanted to be neutral in decision making. And we want to build sustainability. It's like you build a house, and when you're building a house, you want it to last for a long time. You want it to last for decades. So we want to build a sustainable protocol, and we want to create a system for payment that is strong and doesn't break easily. It should be good for the environment and continue to work for the well-being of everyone. And the other one is advocate interoperability. Just like I was telling you an example of SMTP, we want to enable interoperability in the payment space. So imagine you have 10 rupees in your Amazon wallet, 10 rupees in your MobiKwik wallet, 10 rupees in your Flipkart wallet, 10 rupees in your Ola wallet, and all these things are not interoperable. You cannot transfer money between these wallets, and you cannot use it. You cannot make a single payment with using all these four wallets. But if imagine all these four wallets are built on a single protocol, then it would be easy for us to make transfers, use the wallets, and add these all additional features that interoperability provides with anything over the web at this point of time. And so this is our entire role at Interledger. And how are we planning to do it? So this is our approach. We want to fund innovative solutions from within communities. So imagine if you as a contributor, you started your open source development now. 6 months down the line, you got an idea, and you are building a solution which also has a payments feature. And if you are trying to build your payment feature on top of Interledger protocol, we will fund your solution. We will help you build that solution. We'll give you mentorship for this for building your solution. And this is how we are leading our building the innovative solution from our communities, and build an ecosystem for the paradigm shift in payment system. Just like I was telling you, like cross wallets. So we want to build the next generation of wallet should be built on a single protocol, so that we can create this interoperability. It means creating a new way for people to pay for things like games and stuff you buy online, and which is easier and better for everyone, and to create a meaningful community that help and grow with each other. In the end, if you have a technology but you don't have a community who are helping for each other, who are standing with each other, who is mentoring with each other, who is mentoring each other, who is learning from each other, then in the end, it might not create a huge impact. So we want to also create a meaningful community with this Hacktoberfest Interledger. We not only want you to introduce a project where you can contribute to, but we also want to introduce a community where you can get involved with and build things and be a part of the future payment system that you are going to create, and get involved with these grants and all the opportunities that you can get. And then build a talent pipeline. So this means like we want to build a pipeline to welcome new voices. So when you are building a platform that works with everyone, you have to hear different voices, and we are building a pipeline to welcome those new voices, and we want to create this innovative solution using those voices. And the other one is support research and development. If you are building a payment system, you will work on your solution and all that's cool. But if you also want to involve in the research and development of the protocol, you're welcome to do that too. And it's all about like the kind of involvement that you want to get, and the reason why you want to get involved with open source projects or open source communities. It's up to you about how deep you want to get involved with. And some of the ways you can get involved with Interledger in Hacktoberfest is one is submitting a PR to our repositories. These are some of my personal favorites. Interledger has a lot of repositories, a lot of projects that are happening every day, and these are some of the repositories: testnet, Rafiki, some charts, and web monetization. You can submit a PR to any of these participating repositories, and for if you submit one accepted pull request, you will get a t-shirt. I was really sad that this year Hacktoberfest isn't giving the t-shirt for accepted pull requests. So I thought maybe we could give out t-shirts for people who get involved with Interledger projects. I have t-shirts for like I think 6 to 7 years of Hacktoberfest, but this year I'm not going to get any. But if you contribute to Interledger, I'll give you a t-shirt. So these are some of my favorite repositories. Rafiki is an API which is built on top of ILP. If you want to build a wallet using ILP, I think Rafiki is a good way to get started with. Testnet is a sample application built that uses Rafiki APIs. You should definitely take a look at that as well. And help charts is some of the internal the charts for our Kubernetes stack. You can explore that as well, and it has I think a couple of really good first issues as well. And web monetization is a new standard about how the future web is going to monetize. So imagine, I think I'll talk a couple of, I'll talk a minute about web monetization now. So imagine you are a content creator, you are writing posts on your Medium, or you are creating videos on your YouTube. How do you make money off it? There are a set of rules and set of conditions about how and when you can make money out of this platform. For a Medium, I think you have to have like 500 subscribers or 100 subscribers or 1000 subscribers. I think I'm not sure of the number, but you need to have a minimum audience base, subscriber base, and you should belong to a list of 40 countries. When I was checking it last time, India was not one of them. So you have to belong to those 40 countries. Only then you will be able to make money out of it. If you are from India, you wrote about 100 posts, you are not going to get paid for your content on Medium. Similar for YouTube as well. You have to build your audience base. You should have a certain view time. You should have you should increase your subscriber base. Only then you will be able to make the payment. But people who are watching your content are going to watch the ads and are going to generate money for the content platform. But with this web monetization, it's a web standard where a content creator can directly get paid from a content viewer. If I like your video and if I want to tip you, I can directly tip it with the web monetization. Or else, as I am reading your content on Medium, I should be able to send micro payments to your content. All this is possible in the web monetized world. All our content platforms are web monetized. Like if you have heard about dev.to, it is already web monetized. If you go right click on and click on view source code, you will see something like REL equal to monetization. That means that particular website is monetized. And a web monetization provider, if you are using one, can make payments to the content creators directly without involving any of the middleman. Of course, the content platforms can also make money in the same time, but we want to reduce the friction that is there at present between the creators and the consumers. And because of this, you see how the content platforms operate. Like you have to see a lot of ads. You have to buy subscription, and also then you should see ads. There is a lot of privacy concerns as well when you are using any content platforms. I think personally for me, web monetization is an interesting standard, and it is an exciting standard for me that is going to solve a lot of problems that we have in the current day web. So that I really wanted you people to go through web monetization and see what we people are building and what the standard is about and how you can get involved with. So that is the first way to get involved. Submit a PR to any participating repositories, and you will get a T-shirt for your PR. And find bugs and creating issues. So if you are using any of the Interledger protocol repositories, and if you are reading through documentation, if you find something wrong with it, and if you think something can be improved, please create an issue. And you can also pick your own issue and fix it. That's a good way to get involved with. And star our repositories. So these are some of my favorite repositories at Interledger. So you can start these repositories. One of the way I learned initially with the open source contribution is I used to get scared when I see the issues. Even though it is a good first issue, it was hard for me to understand. Maybe I did not have the technical expertise, or maybe I did not understand it for whatever reason it might be. But one of the reason, I mean, one of the thing that I did differently that helped me was I used to look at what other people are building. If a person who is participating in Hacktoberfest submitted a PR, I used to take a look at it and I used to see the attached issue for that particular pull request. Then I used to read the issue. Then I used to understand how he wrote code for that particular issue. This was a good learning experience for me initially when I wanted to get involved with open source. And if you start the repositories and follow them, you will see what other people are building, and you can learn from watching the other person's code. That's a good way to get started with the open source. And join and say hi to us on Slack. This is our community Slack. I'll attach all these things in the Discord. This is where you can directly talk to the people at Interledger. You don't want me or someone to be the middleman to share the knowledge between you and the person at Interledger, right? So you can directly join our Slack, introduce yourself, tell us what you are there for, or you can talk to the people at Interledger about your ideas. That's how we share and get involved with communities, right? So our Slack is a good platform for you to join and introduce yourself and talk to the people at Interledger. And the other one is sign up on community.interledger.org. It is our forum, it is our blog. It will keep you updated with the future grants and funds. Almost like around the year, we will have new features, new grants that are launched every now and then. And you can participate in those grants and everything. Uh, uh, we don't have any restriction on who can participate and who can get involved with. Whenever there is a grant, you can fill up the form, you can present your idea, you can chat with the team and then present your idea, make it better, and then submit your for the grants and funds. And you can also, at the same time, you can also watch what other grantees are building and how other people who got funded are using and building on top of Interledger. That will help you to ideate and come up with new ideas for your next time grant application, or if you want to become an ambassador also. This is where you will find all the details or any other feature campaigns that Interledger runs. So this is one another way for you to get involved. And ILF resources. So these are some of the resources that I believe you should explore. Our Interledger Foundation website. Go to it, read through it, read what our ideas are and what our goals are for ILF, and how you can get involved with the ILF initiatives. And Interledger Summit is another summit that happens once every year. It happens in different places. Last time it happened in New Orleans. This time it is happening in Costa Rica. It happens in the month of November. If you have an idea and if you want to register as a speaker and submit your proposal, you're welcome to do so whenever there is a call for proposals. And you can submit your proposal and we will review it and we'll get back to you on that. And that's also another way, like you can share your learnings when you're working with Interledger or any of the payment systems that you are involved with. And community forum, like I was telling you, you can sign up and see what other people are building, what other people are doing. Slack, I already told you. YouTube, you can watch the last year's Interledger Summit talks in there, and we have some good introduction videos for you to help you understand Interledger protocol better. And these are some of the projects that I was telling you about: Rafiki testnet, developer tools, our GitHub. You'll find a lot of repositories, and you can, depending on your interest, depending on your skill set, you can filter the repositories, and you can then get involved with that particular project. If you have any questions, I'll be available on the Discord. I'd love to talk to you all over there. And any question that you might have, feel free to talk to me, and I'll be happy to answer that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hack This Fall, for this opportunity. Over to you, people.
Thank you so much, Santosh, for the lovely talk. And I hope your talk has made it easier for all the attendees over here to get involved with Interledger, to build on top of Interledger. And I hope the journey for them has become easier henceforth. Also, Santosh will be available on Discord post lunch. So all your doubts and queries, audience, can be answered over there. On that note, I would now like to invite Krish Gupta on stage. Krish will be talking on the art to identify the right project. Krish is a maintainer at Carnivore, WebExDAO, and EddieHub. Over to you, Krish. All right. So while Krish is joining the studio and while Krish is joining the stream, I'd like to reiterate that the giveaway is still going on. I'd like to urge you all to take screenshots of your learnings, post them on social media, tweet your learnings, and use the requisite hashtags, which is Hack This Fall, Hacktoberfest, and tag us at Hack This Fall. Also, as announced earlier, on 25th of October, Hacktoberfest by Hack This Fall is also coming to Vadodara. So, all the Vadodara folks, I hope the excitement is extremely soaring for the same, and I hope I'll be seeing a lot of you over there. Meanwhile, attendees, you can just drop in your key takeaway from the sessions so far. Oh, yes, 28th October is the date when there'll be an in person session in Vadodara. So attendees, please mention you can drop in your key takeaways from the session so far, anything that really resonated with you. A lot of speakers spoke about the intimidation that comes one's way while making their first contribution, as that is something that, even I have encountered as a contributor when I was a new contributor. So I think that's something that might have really struck a chord with most people. Krish will be on stage soon. So before that, anybody would like to drop in their learnings? Anybody? Anybody who'd like to tell maybe which previous Hack This Fall events they've attended priorly? Because I remember being an attendee in the previous virtual session of Hack This Fall by Hacktoberfest. Shibam says that they've learned how to PR, how to create a pull request, and find GitHub projects. Yes, exactly. That's something that's really crucial. And I think through Krish's talk as well, he'll also be talking about identifying the right project that syncs with you and your tech stack. Anybody else who would like to drop in anything that they've learned? Even I remember attending a talk last year at Hack This Falls virtual event, and the talk was very similar to the current topic, which is finding the right projects and navigating my way through the entire month of Hacktoberfest, and like contributing for the impact and the values at large, and not just for swag or for or for the swag or for the t-shirts. So this is again another thing, as Shiva mentioned, finding the right projects and contributing to them. So due to some technical issues, Krish won't be joining us right now. Rather, we'll have Harshaditya's talk right now. So Harshaditya Gaur is a remote sensing engineer at Bharat Rohan Airborne Innovations Private Limited, and he'll be giving a talk on exploring open source space tech. So over to you, Harshaditya. I hope you're ready to present.
Hello guys, am I audible? Can you please quickly tell in the chat? Hello guys, am I audible to you? Okay, then I will start. So my screen is visible to you right now. So guys, I will be talking about exploring open space technology. So this is Harshaditya Gaur. So I am a remote sensing engineer at Bharat Rohan. So what does this remote sensing means? That you are capturing data for a particular site from a remote location via UAV, via satellites, or any sort of other mediums. So if I go to my educational background, I have done bachelor's in computer science, then master's in remote sensing and GIS with specialization in satellite image analysis and photogrammetry from Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, which is the educational body of ISRO, and currently working with Bharat Rohan. And my area of interest are like machine learning, geospatial programming, and hyperspectral remote sensing. So the agenda for today's session would be an introduction to the open space technology, then why it is necessary, and I will be giving you an overview of ISRO data archive and Avya software, which is an open source QGIS plugin for processing space data related to Chandrayaan, Mars rover, and other missions, and then a summary of that. So as you know from the introduction that like most of the space segment
Harshaditya,
is
I'm sorry
particularly
to interrupt.
dominated by government agencies and large corporations.
I'm
So
really
the
sorry to
technology
interrupt.
that they use is not uh, open
You're
source
not
and not
presenting the right
accessible to the
screen.
people. So the contribution from the public sector or the open source segment is very less. But in past few years, these sort of trends are been changing. Space agencies are making their tools data available to general public for their contribution, and for people to get indulged in this sort of area. Guys, my screen is visible to you now, and like I'm audible.
Harshaditya, you're audible, but your screen is not visible.
Like
Yeah, you're sharing your
one
screen
second, guys.
backstage right now.
So getting back to the topic. So most of this segment is particularly dominated by space agencies, and like don't make things very open to everybody, and it's very close source. But trend has been changed, as and that I was talking earlier. So but awareness is not there. Pastly I was
Hey, sorry to interrupt you over here again. We are able to see the backstage screen. We're not able to see your
pastly like
deck.
I was to a event in last week, which was a NASA Space App Challenge happening in Noida. So there I saw the people were like very much using the data which is only available by the NASA Space Agency. But there are lots of resources which are made available by Indian Space Agency, from European Space Agency, but the awareness is somewhat lacking, and people were trying to build a solution from ground up in very less amount of time. Like you get a 36 hours of time. Like if you can like build on the top of the solutions. Like guys, wait a second. Like hello, hello, yes.
Yes, Tarun, we understand the issue with the screen right now, and we are looking into it. So Harshaditya will be back within a minute with the right deck. Attendees, we have a couple of more sessions lined in for you, and this is definitely not the end of the event. There'll be breakout rooms on Discord as well. So if you have friends who want to join in, if you have friends who wish to, learn about open source, do tell them to tune in as well. I think the issue is sorted now, and Harshaditya can be back on the screen.
Hey guys, sorry for the mishap, guys. Like, I think now my screen is visible to you all. Like, we can start it over again. I think my screen is visible. So let's start again. So hello guys, I'm Harshatya God. I'm I am one of the remote sensing engineers at Bharat Rohan, and like we will talking today about exploring open space technology. So a little bit of educational background. So my bachelor's is I have done my bachelor's in computer sciences. Then I did my master's in remote sensing and GIS with specialization in satellite image analysis and photogrammetry from Indian Institute of Remote Sensing. And now I'm currently working as a remote sensing engineer. So remote sensing is basically dealing with the data which is captured by satellites, UAV, and ground-based telemetry stations. So I work on those sort of things, and my area of interest includes machine learning, geospatial programming, hyperspectral remote sensing, and lots of other geospatial parameters. So for today agenda, what is like introduction to the open space tech, then why it's necessary, and I will be giving you an overview of ISRO data archive, which contains all the scientific data from the planetary missions like Mars, Chandrayaan, and others. Upcoming missions data would be available as well there, and open source software that is made by ISRO. It's a QGIS plugin. I will be giving you overview of that, and followed by a summary. So, as you know that the space industry is heavily dominated by the space agency. It can be ESA, the European Space Agency. It can be the NASA. It can be JAXA, the agency of Japan, and ISRO. So the technology they use is not available to the general public. Uh, from like past 15 years, you can say that, but from 2019 onwards, after the Chandrayaan 2 mission, these sort of technologies are like now being made available to the general public, not being restricted to the researchers or the officials of these agencies. Now people can download these sort of data sets and process them at their systems, and can make innovative products and solutions. So the reach is now being expanded, and the open source space technology is something that is uh, making transition and in a very faster way. So I will give you overview how it's done. Now there's a necessity. The transition is happening, but the awareness is somewhat lacking. I meet few peoples back last week at NASA Space App Challenge that happened in Noida. So I was one of the mentors for that challenge. So there I got to know that people were not aware about the data sets that have been published online. They were just using the only data only made available by NASA, even though ISRO, ESA, and other space agencies were the partner in that particular event. But people were not really focusing on those data sets. They were like sticking to the NASA data sets in general. So awareness of these data sets was not there, even though they were made open source. So if awareness is not there, so accessibility will be not there. Look, people will not try to find those data set. So accessibility is not there, and that is followed by the development. So development around those particular things won't take place. So the innovation and the collaborate part will be the left out phase. It's true for our own data sets, like for Chandrayaan and Mars mission datasets. There are not really been any significant researches or like any software for publishing research paper, or any scientific contribution has not done in a very significant manner if you search online. So today I will give you the overview of the this ISRO Space Data Archive, that is ISDA, and Avyas, that is a open source software made on the top of the QGIS. So it's a plugin. In that you get your machine learning, your deep learning, your classification models, your regression models, and lots of other features that are open source, and you can just download these data sets and try to do some sort of research, write a blog about that article, and some sort of contribution that can be done, so public can be made aware about these sort of things are available, and they can transition to this sort of tech also. So I will so in this particular window, I will now show you about if my browser is visible, I will just show you about. Okay, I think my browser is not visible. I will change the window quickly for this. I think that's some sort of. I think some sort of issue is there, but I think backend team is resolving till that. I will go back just to my slides and share you some, give you overview. So moving back, so if you see here, this is the ISRO Science Data Archive. In this particular area, if you see, Chandrayaan data is available, the AstroSat data is available, the Chandrayaan data is available to you, and these are some sort of data that you can freely download. There's no restriction, just you have to sign up for this to the access portal, and the data set will be made available to you. Just you can readily download. There are lots of guides regarding this. So if I move to another tab, here you will find all the information related to the sensors, what sort of sensors were there in the mission used. So if you see here, we have a infrared spectrometer, we have a radar uh, sensor available, and if you want to just to get started, you can get the data from the high resolution camera. So these will be the RGB images. So you can make some good product, or you can make a online atlas available to the people, showing the information about different craters. Then you have the terrain camera. So this camera is particularly generating 3D models and elevation models for the this moon surface, and there's a composition explorer that is used for studying the composition around the moon. And there are lots of other sensors, and there's a particularly my area of interest would be, if I want to contribute, would be the X-ray fluorescence experiment. It's a experiment studying the X-ray, using the X-ray about the solar particles around the moon surface. And you have all the resources available to you, and you can download these data set and do the processing part. So for same applies for the Mangalyaan mission. So you can download the data from here. So now I will give you overview of the Avyas software. So if you see, this is the website for Avyas software, and it's the open source plugin that if you download the QGIS, you can just download this plugin and install it. So after that, you will get lots of exploration can be done. So if you want to use deep learning models, you can use deep learning models. If you have any sort of pre-built model, you can just embed that particular script and this particular plugin. It will create a graphic UI for you. There you can set your parameters. If you have some pre-trained models, that can be done. So the name suggests is like for hyperspectral. So hyperspectral here means that if you have a like I will be going to a physics a little bit. So if you have a spectrum starting from 400 nanometers to 1000 nanometers, so visible range is from 400 to 700 nanometers, what we call RGB. But beyond that also we have a spectrum. So hyperspectral takes imagery in a very small intervals. Say if I took the first image at 750 nanometers, so next image would be taken between after the 10 nanometer gap. So it would be like around 460 would be the next capturing for the sensor. So hyperspectral takes lots of imagery around the continuous spectrum, and there's a multispectral that takes imagery on a fixed points. Like if it is 750, 850, 980, so there will be three images, no continuation part would be there. And RGB is like basically our visible range spectrum. So data is somewhat similar. So using this aware software, you can do lots of things. If you see this particular website, they have mentioned about visualizing these the data, analyzing the spectra. So spectra is something what we call interaction of light particles with the material depending on the wavelength. So every particle on the earth behave differently with the wavelength, a different wavelength of the light. So it creates a spectrum graph on XY axis, somewhat like if you plot some points on XY axis, so there will be a continuation form of line. So spectra is a sort of that. So this is the particular website. If you are like interested in this sort of stuff, you can visit this website. And like now I will be giving you like the visuals of the this GitHub repository where you can contribute. So during my time at Iris, we found some bugs in the segmentation part, and like we that we have found those bugs. And we also suggested to like implement some ensemble models in this. Like currently it only use the random forest, but we suggested them to implement a conical forest and XRT classifier, which are the supersets for the random forest. And like you can like contribute to this repository. You can download the source code. It's open source, based on Python. So any Python contributor can be like, if you have intermediate knowledge, you can start contributing. And if you are very beginner, then you can read these guides. They have lots of information in that for particular features you are targeting. So you can target about atmospheric corrections features, or you can do some implementations in deep learning. So they have guides around here, so you can like directly browse those guides and do as per your choice. So to download this software, you can go to the Vedas site of the SAC, Space Application Center. From there you can download this software free, for free. It's not being any like, you don't require any access sort of or authentication here, and you can just contribute to this. And it would be very like helpful for the space open space community, that people are getting aware, and like you can contribute to the segment. Now like I will like move on to the other part. I will show you some of my results which I have like generated from the ISRO NASA mission. So this is the result you are showing. I'm showing you right now is for the Jodhpur city, Jodhpur city, and it is from a airborne sensor Everest NG. So it was a joint mission between NASA and ISRO. So they captured some data around the Jodhpur region and many other parts of the India region. So you can just access those data freely. It's free of cost. No, nothing authentication is required like ISRO data archive. So in this we download those data. This is a hyperspectral data, and we classified it using the SVM technique. And here we have like identified a few minerals. So this is a urban classification, what we call in space terms. So you can see we have a legend chart here, and those in, you can see this orange color represents as well. This cyan color represent uh, concrete, light green is grass, the dense vegetation is represented by green, the dry soil is represented by brown, the tin is represented by dark blue, and we have unclassified areas marked as brown. So these all maps are being made using QGIS software, and all the data I have processed using the Avya software made available by ISRO. So how to contribute here? So first you need to identify a project, a space project. It can be a ISRO project, it can be a NASA project, it can be a ISA project. You need to identify that project, and first it can be like a calibration of sensor, it can be the pre-processing of data, or it can be generating some useful insights or generating end product from that particular data. So you need to understand following aspects of that space project and find a project. ISRO have repositories around its GitHub. ESA and NASA also have, so you can like just browse those repository which aligns to your interest, just start contributing to that project. And in this you have to first read about the documentation, because these space technologies have different sensors and scientific instruments in that. So you have to first need to study about a little bit. Study is required via the documentation parts, then you can start contributing. In that also you can just look for the beginner friendly ways for contributing. And you can collaborate with communities, so you can collaborate with GIS communities or OGC, which is the Open Geospatial Consortium. So these are some communities where people collaborate with each other to share idea and work on project, and they get guidance from there as well. And then the last part is learn and improve. So this segment is like in the end the improvements are would be like substantially, you will improve on your projects. And two things that you need to focus here is the segment and objective. So segment here is represented in a way like I am the person who likes to contribute or who likes to work on hyperspectral data more, and one of my friends is working with the radar data. He's currently working for the NISAR mission, which is ISRO NASA mission. And one of my friend is like working with SAR and multispectral data for agriculture purposes. So you need to identify which segment you are targeting. Like it can be for urban, it can be for water, it can be for agriculture, or it can be interplanetary sciences that you are targeting. So you need to first analyze what sort of segment that you are interested in. So some people are more focused toward the planetary data, which can be related to moon, Mars, and other sort of scientific missions, and data is made available, then you can use that. But first the segment is need to be, like, you need to be very firm on this part. Then the objective, if you are using the Chandrayaan data for example, then what is the end goal or the objective that you are trying to achieve with that particular sort of data. So one of my friends was working to identify the crater depth using the RGB data and the terrain camera data. So he was trying to fuse two data and trying to analyze the crater depth. So objective of your project is very necessary. So you need to have a firm understanding on the objectives, that this would be the end goal or end point of my project, and I have to generate this sort of product in the end. So in summary, what I will conclude, that open space technology will promote transparency, community collaborations, and access to the space related innovations. So let's work together to build solutions and share benefit of space technology with greater audience. So guys, I will like pause my screen for some seconds so you can like scan this QR, and you can access the you would access the links in which I have shared some guides, some playlist, and the GitHub repository of Avaya software where you can contribute. So you can scan this and you will get a link that I have mentioned various guides and playlists. So you can scan this. Let's pause my screen for some seconds. So let's move on. So thank you guys for this session. I thank Hack the Fall team for giving me the stage and like to share my thoughts with the people around here and trying to make the open source space technology accessible to all. And before going, I would be just giving you like a suggestion to get started. So 30-day map challenge 2023 is coming up, and you guys can make some maps. It's in condition of like 30 days you have to present maps on some topics. So you can just search this particular query on Google and click on the first link, you and then there you will get whole description of the project. It's just like 30-day of code challenge. So in this particular challenge, using the data generated from satellites, from other geospatial services, you can download those data, produce some good maps. For making maps, again, QGIS is an open source software, you can use that. And write this particular query on Google, you will get to know what are the like expectations of this particular challenge. And this is a very good way to get started. Like I started back in 2020 using this particular challenge only. So I hope this challenge will help you understand more about the open source space tech. So thank you guys. Thank you for like listening to my talk patiently. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harshaditya, for that extremely wonderful as well as unconventional talk. I'm sure open source space tech does not seem like a really conventional thing to venture into, but for sure after today's session, you set the path really easy for those who wish to explore this path. Moving on, now we have Krish Gupta. He'll be speaking on the art to identify the right project, and he happens to be a maintainer at Gardevoir, WebExTau, and EddieHub. Over to you, Krish.
Hello. So, can everyone see me? First of all, can everyone see me in the screen? You can just drop a quick yes in the chat. Okay, perfect. So then let's begin. Um, so I am going to, talk about identifying the right open source project, right? Because there are like millions of open source projects. Everybody is like, we want to make a new open source project. I have a few, some of the organizations I maintain have a lot of them, right? And there are just millions of open source projects. But not every single project is made for you, right? There are going to be projects that have a different tech stack, yes. There are going to be projects that have a different language, but those are things that you can work. There are some things that you cannot. So, for example, there is always a end goal. You have a goal when you're contributing to an open source project. Does that project meet your goal? Right. If you're looking to learn, then the project must have a learning curve for you. I contributed to AppWrite once and I did not know exactly how AppWrite worked. So I learned the technologies and the things AppWrite was built on. So that is something that you had to learn. So that's a learning curve. And here is, just a small list of things that you can overcome. For example, the tech stack, the governance, and the use case. Um, but just to keep it very short, here is how you can contribute to open source. You first find a project that you want to add value to, and next you find where you can add value to in the project. You can of course reverse the order of these. So if I'll give you an example. The first order. So I found out React.js, and I was working on the documentation, right? I saw that there was a typo. So found the project I wanted to add the value to, and then I found where I can add value in the project. So this is one way that you can contribute. But in programs like Hacktoberfest, it happens the opposite way. You find where you can add value. For example, you want to contribute to documentation, and then you go find a project. So finding a project is the thing that you do, in these programs like Hacktoberfest. The important thing is that because you know your skills, you want to add value to a project, and you want to find the project. So just to let you know that what kinds of value you can add. So there is of course feature addition, refactoring code, bug fixes, developer experience, improvement, and that's all on the code side. But there is a lot of no code contributions that you can make as well, such as documentation, content, awareness, application, community things, triaging, right? So it's just about adding value. You can add value any way possible. You can just test the thing if it works or not in your machine, and that is adding value. Okay, so this is now here like a little bit of a radical opinion. Don't begin with an actual open source project. So if you attended, like, if you saw the second workshop or session we had by Raj, right? You went ahead and made a repository and worked on. So that is the first thing you have to do to start contributing to open source. And over there, you were alone. You were the person who was maintaining the project. You were the person who was contributing to it. But what I want you to do is go to a project like maybe a Hacktoberfest practice repo, maybe a repo where you just have to add your name, and that is something that you have to do in the project. Go to those projects and do that once. You'll get an idea of how Git, GitHub, and all these things work, right? And once you know how this works, then it will be much more easier for you to contribute to other projects. You know what conflicts are. You know how reviewing works. You know what the workflow of a PR being merged is. So that is something that you have to keep first, right? And now let's just get to the main topic, right? Identifying the project. So let's just start with that. Let's not wait anymore. Okay, I changed the tabs I'm sharing. Right. So for this one, I prepared sort of like a mini blog style thing. Um, so the first way you can find a project is your open source network, right? I have friends. You are attending at this call. You're potentially going to make friends in the session, in the chat. Somewhere you're going to make friends. Like I guess everybody has friends, right? So your friends have projects, and it is very likely that the projects that your friends have are in a similar tech stack or in a similar skill level as you, because they are your friends. So you should definitely go ahead and contribute to your network's open source projects. That is the first place you should look for if you are looking for projects to contribute to. Second up is projects you use. So we talked a lot about different projects you use in from the starting of this Hack this fall Hacktoberfest event. We talked a lot about these, like Chrome, Brave, Android, VS Code, GitLab, Gitpod are all open source in one way or another, right? And you use these projects, so you can contribute to them potentially. I find a bug in something that I use, I can contribute to it, or I can just go and look at the open issues and I can contribute to the projects because I use them, so I know what are the quirks and the things, and I also have a intention of contributing to them because I'm using them, and by contributing I'm making something that I use better, right? Then next up, people you follow. So there is, of course, you are likely following a lot of people. Honestly, I follow a lot of people, and but a few of them have their own open source projects, right? And they are generally good projects. You can contribute to them. There is also the GitHub trending thing. So you can, go ahead to GitHub trending, github.com/trending, and find out all the trending repositories. Lastly, this one was mentioned before, I think, but there is also GitHub search. So you can just search on GitHub what issues are available in open. And this was also mentioned in the entire workshop. But this is the last thing that you would want to do is to go to good first issue sites like First Contribution, goodfirstissue.dev, and all of them. Lastly, communities. You are a part of Hack This Fall, other communities, they have their projects. Go ahead and contribute. Yeah, that's it. Where do I find search projects? I told you the exact ways to search them. If you or you could even go to people's GitHub and find them if you're talking about the network or the followers part. But yeah, that's it. I hope no one has any questions. If you do have some, I'd be available in the Discord, the post lunch break Q&A session, and let's have a chat. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Krish. So, with this, we officially come to an end of the lineup of talks and sessions that we had today. And you all were an amazing, amazing audience. But this is not where all your learning and all your learning for today ends, but rather where it truly begins, right? So, right now, while we are heading for a lunch break, we'll have breakout rooms on Discord from 3:30 p.m. onwards. And I encourage you all to join us in those breakout rooms, interact with your speakers, and get the doubts clarified. So that's pretty much it about it. I hope you all had an amazing, amazing learning experience. But as I mentioned before, this is not where it ends, but rather where it truly begins. So whether your doubts are regarding Git or GitHub, whether they are about finding the right project or about open source space tech, you'll find the speakers in the breakout rooms. See you all on Discord now, and we have an amazing. Thank you.